You take a drive one winter night. A quiet road, snow drifting through your headlights. The world outside feels hushed, like it's holding its breath. And then, a crash. A neighbor hears it. A stranger stops to help. 10 minutes later, when police arrive, your car is still warm. Your belongings are still inside, but you are gone. This is the true story of Maura Murray. February 9th, 2004, Haverhill, New Hampshire. A 21-year-old nursing student disappears after a car crash on Route 112. And for 2 decades, the question has remained the same. How does someone vanish in minutes? Welcome to Shadows and Secrets. If stories like this keep you awake at night, subscribe, so the next one finds you in the dark. Maura wasn't a stranger to discipline or structure. She had once been a cadet at West Point, following in her sister's footsteps. But after 2 years, she transferred to UMass Amherst, trading military precision for nursing. She was bright, athletic, a runner. She had a steady boyfriend, Billy, stationed at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, a father who pushed her to succeed, and siblings who looked up to her. From the outside, her future looked mapped out, but inside, cracks were starting to show. She'd faced trouble for using a stolen credit card to order food. 2 nights before her disappearance, she crashed her father's car after a dorm party, and just days earlier, she broke down during her campus security job. A phone call had reduced her to sobs so heavy, her supervisor had to escort her back to her dorm. No one knows who was on the other end of that line. On the morning of February 9th, she emailed her professors. "There's been a death in the family. I'll be gone for a week," but it wasn't true. There was no death, just Maura, quietly setting something in motion. At 3 p.m., she withdrew $280 from an ATM. The footage shows her calm, composed, almost detached. Minutes later, she bought liquor, vodka, Bailey's, Kahlua, a box of wine, enough for a gathering. But she was alone. She loaded the bags into her Saturn sedan and drove north into the White Mountains. North, away from everything she knew. How many times have you thought to yourself, "I just need to get away"? And if you did, would anyone notice? Before it was too late. By nightfall, snow was falling heavily. Route 112 wound through forests and small towns. Quiet, empty, isolated. At 7:27 p.m., Maura lost control on a curve and slid into a snowbank. A neighbor heard the crash and dialed 911. A bus driver stopped to help. He said she looked shaken, pale, maybe frightened, but not drunk, not injured. She told him roadside assistance was already on the way, but records show she never called. At 7:46, police arrived. The Saturn was locked, both airbags blown, the windshield cracked. Inside, red stains that looked like wine, broken bottles, printed directions to Burlington, Vermont. Her belongings still in place, but Maura was gone. There were no footprints in the snow, no blood, no struggle, just absence. In the days before, her search history told its own story. MapQuest directions to ski towns, phone calls about a condo, but no one knew why. And that unexplained phone call, the one that left her crying at work, its contents have never been revealed. Would you notice if someone close to you was quietly planning to disappear? The search began almost immediately. Dogs followed her scent, a short distance up the road. Then it vanished, as if she had stepped off the earth or into another car. Helicopters circled with infrared. Hundreds of volunteers combed the woods. The river was dragged, bridges, culverts, every path explored, but there was nothing. And then, the rag, a piece of cloth stuffed into the Saturn's tailpipe. Her father insisted it was his doing, a quick fix for an exhaust leak, but others saw it differently. To some, it was a sign of sabotage, a clue left behind, or worse, a warning. If you found a rag in your own exhaust pipe, would you believe it was maintenance or something darker? Theories spread like frost across New Hampshire. Some said she panicked after the crash and ran into the woods. But if so, where were the tracks? Others believed she was running from her life, whispers of suicide, or secret troubles no one else saw. And many believe she flagged down the wrong car. That one ride ended everything. Her family refused to believe she would leave them behind. They returned to Route 112 again and again, leaving flowers at the crash site, holding vigils by candlelight, asking questions the silence never answered. But the answers never came. Over the years, sightings trickled in. A woman walking alone on a road, a figure in a store, a stranger glimpsed in passing headlights, but none were ever confirmed. And online, her name never faded. Message boards dissected her life, every choice, every rumor. Some blamed police, others accused strangers. Even her own family wasn't spared suspicion. Maura's case became one of the first great mysteries of the internet age, and 2 decades later, the truth still hides in the snow. Stand with me on Route 112. The Saturn sits silent on the roadside. Its engine ticks as it cools. The smell of antifreeze lingers, mixed with spilled wine. Snow drifts across the blacktop, and somewhere in the distance, faint headlights crawl through the trees. Still minutes away, you have 10 minutes. 10 minutes to step into the woods. 10 minutes to wave down the wrong car. 10 minutes to vanish. That's all it took to erase Maura Murray. February 9th, 2004, the last confirmed moment of her life. Her car was found. Her belongings were found. But she never was. A crash, a silence, and a secret that refuses to surface. What do you think? Was this escape or abduction? Every crime leaves a trace, but every secret casts a shadow, and the shadows always hide more. If you're ready to see what they keep next, subscribe and follow us deeper into the dark.